Hello everyone, this is Showtime 112. We're back with our ongoing look at the lesser-known side of Hermann Göring, his time as a World War I fighter ace. In our previous episode, we followed young Göring as he rose through the ranks of the German army, quickly making the leap to aviation soon after the war began in 1914. When we last left him, he was flying with Jasta 26 in an Albatros D3, already credited with 5 confirmed aerial victories. Once again, our aim here isn't to glorify a war criminal. Instead, we want to shed light on a different chapter of history and help you visualize what aerial combat in World War I might have looked like. It's still April 1917, a month that would go down in history as Bloody April due to the staggering losses suffered by British airmen. On April 29, Göring filed a combat report describing a dogfight with a Nieuport single-seater over Ramicourt at 7:45 p.m. He managed to shoot down his opponent, who tried to land but crashed instead. The pilot, South African Sub-Lieutenant Albert Fletcher of the Royal Navy Air Service, was badly injured but survived and was taken prisoner. While Göring's report lists a serial number that doesn't match British loss records, there is no real doubt he brought down a Nieuport 17 bis, flown by Fletcher. In fact, a photo Göring took of the downed plane still exists. This marked his first victory over a single-seat fighter. Göring himself nearly met the same fate just minutes later. Flying at only 100 meters, he came under attack from another Nieuport, which was being chased by a German Albatros. Göring's plane was hit, severing his aileron cables, but the Nieuport was forced down by the other German pilot and Göring managed to limp back to base. His next victory claim came 11 days later, on May 10. The official report hasn't survived, but Göring recounted the battle in 1923 for an anthology of German airmen's stories, adding his typical dramatic flair. It was a beautiful spring day, suddenly interrupted by the distant drone of enemy aircraft. Göring scrambled into his Albatros D3, joined by 3 wingmen. They climbed to 5,000 meters and headed towards Cambrai, hunting for enemy planes. Soon, they spotted 4 bombers at 4,000 meters, already on their way home, with several single-seat fighters moving in to cover them. Göring decided to go after the fighters first. His group dove in, guns blazing, and the British pilots broke off, retreating toward their own lines. With the skies cleared of enemy fighters, the Albatros pilots turned their attention to the Airco DH-4 bombers, each picking a target. Göring closed in on his, dodging defensive fire from the rear gunner. He dove below the bomber to attack from its blind spot and opened fire. The enemy plane went down and crashed. Two of his fellow pilots, Lieutenant Walter Blume and Vizefeldwebel Fritz Krebs, also claimed victories, and all three received official credit. Blume would go on to become a successful ace with 26 more kills. British 55 Squadron records for that day note the loss of 3 Airco DH-4s. One, flown by 2nd Lieutenant Trevor Webb and aircraftsman First Class Walter Bond, was officially attributed to German anti-aircraft fire, but it's likely Göring was the one who actually shot them down. With his 7th victory, Göring received more good news. He was appointed commander of Jagdstaffel 27. By this point, the Albatros D3 was starting to be outclassed by new Allied aircraft like the Spad, Sopwith triplane, and SE-5, making experienced leadership more important than ever. The squadron relocated to a new airfield outside Lille, a key industrial city in German-occupied France. The next major Allied offensive focus was just 18 kilometers northwest of the city center. In late May and early June 1917, Göring engaged enemy aircraft several times. On one occasion, he was even forced to land by a Sopwith triplane. He claimed his fight had faced several Allied types at once, though it's likely he combined details from a few separate encounters. Göring didn't notch another kill until June 8, 1917. He later described this fight for a 1920s anthology on German wartime aviation. That morning, he took off with 10 planes from his squadron. About 60 kilometers from base and 4,000 meters above the front, they spotted a formation of 12 Nieuports overhead. The British dived to attack, and the battle quickly broke into one-on-one duels. Göring saw an enemy plane coming straight for him. He managed to turn in time, pull up, and hit the Nieuport head-on. A fierce dogfight ensued, with both pilots scoring hits as they spiraled down to a lower altitude. Running low on ammo, Göring managed another hit. This time, the British plane went down, but the pilot survived the crash landing. Göring claimed the pilot was 2nd Lieutenant Frank Slee, an ace with 5 victories, and later recounted discussing the fight with the captured Australian. However, records show that Slee was not an ace, but a rookie on his first mission over the lines. He had been told to stay on the edge of the formation and avoid combat, but couldn't resist diving on what looked like an easy target. He was then attacked by 2 Albatros fighters and forced to crash land. So while Göring likely scored a victory here, he couldn't resist embellishing the story. On July 16, 1917, Göring and 10 other pilots from his unit attacked SE-5 fighters of 56 Squadron Royal Flying Corps, who were escorting bombers. Göring quickly shot down one SE-5, piloted by 2nd Lieutenant Robert Jardine, who was killed in the crash. Göring then tangled with another fighter, the duel dropping them as low as 200 meters. but Göring's plane was badly damaged, its engine hanging loose in the fuselage. He crash-landed behind German trenches. The plane flipped over and was damaged beyond repair, ending the career of his trusty Albatros D3, serial number 2049/16, in which he had previously scored 4 victories. With 9 confirmed kills, Göring now moved on to the improved Albatros D5. If you want to hear what happened next, let us know in the comments. And in the meantime, keep watching Showtime 112.